Kim, listen, it's great to have you here, and it's great to sit down and talk with you about your story and about your history, and that's what really I'm interested to hear about today is all about you. And I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I'm gonna make you do this today, okay? You are gonna talk about yourself today. All right. So you live here in Baton Rouge, right? So
Yes.
you're close by. You're in this proximity, so that's
Yeah.
good. All right, but you are from somewhere very different than Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Right.
As I understand it, you were born in Vietnam. Okay. All right. Now going back to that time frame, so we're going back only 20 years now, right? So, but if we look back in history,
Yeah.
and this is interesting to me. So, at the time in this world, and you may know more about this, so please just say, Josh, be quiet. I'm going to take it from here. Let me tell everybody what's going on. But when you're talking about the 1950s, the 1960s, the 1970s, there's one word that kind of prevails through that. So
Yeah.
that word's communism,
Right.
right? Vietnam was not exempt from that at all.
Not at all.
America wasn't exempt from that. We had, what was it called? The Red Wave, Red Scare, something like that.
You've got that, and wasn't there the Cuban Missile Crisis? But that's more in the 80s, am I right?
No, I think that was, you had Kennedy was involved in that, which was the 60s, I believe. Yeah, before both of our times. That's called ancient history.
Yeah.
Well, the
really?
Bay of Pigs thing, that was the 1960s, I think. The Cuban Missile Crisis, I want to say that was under Kennedy, but either way, you had this like Cold War thing going on.
Right.
So everybody, in the United States, we're so hyper focused on America at all times, right? I love the United States,
Yes,
do, but I know how
do I.
Americans are. I know how we are. I know how we. You can agree. It's okay. It's all right. I know how we are. We're focused on ourselves. It's okay. No. Yes?
That's interesting because there's that there's that idiom of the saying that the West has and that the East has. In the East, it's the nails that sticks out get pounded, and in the West, the oils that squeaks gets, or the wheel that squeaks gets the oil.
Yeah, that's normally my nickname.
And so and so there's more about individualism here,
Okay.
right? And going against the grain, versus in the Eastern culture where, namely communism, right? It's, you're supposed to conform and you're not supposed to go against the grain. And God forbid, if you stick out, you're going to get pounded. And that's what
That's
what
interesting.
communism is.
I've never really heard that. I've never heard that expression before.
You've never heard of that?
No. Well, the squeaky wheel getting the grease, like I said, that's literally my life story. But people are like, grease him, hurry. Duct tape. Anyways, just don't talk to my wife. She'll confirm all of that's the case. Anyways, but no, so that's interesting though because, and I don't, we're not going to make this a political conversation per se, although how do you not talk about some of those principles today? Like political stuff, it's in our face all the time. It's just nonstop. But one of the hallmarks, I think, of America is that you can own property, right? You can carve out a path for yourself, for your family.
Yep.
So I don't know if everybody realizes it, but in communist countries or in communism, and this hasn't changed from the 1970s until now,
right?
The government dictates everything.
Yeah, it's the same playbook.
Same play. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So as far as like making decisions about a career path, under communism, do you have that freedom?
I think you do, but maybe you might be limited as to how far you can scale up the ladder.
Okay.
I think, if you don't, conform to a certain ideology.
Okay.
Right? And I'm not an expert, obviously, on politics or even on communism, but you brought that up because that's, communism is the reason why I'm here in America.
Right.
And, a lot of my fellow friends and Vietnamese, friends that are Vietnamese are here. So I appreciate you bringing that up, but
okay, so let's talk about this then. You were basically, you came into this world as that conflict in Vietnam was coming to a close. It officially ended in 75.
In 75, yeah, April 30th, 75.
Okay.
I was about 1 year and 1 month though when the war ended, 1975.
Okay.
So my dad was a military police for the South Vietnam Army.
Okay. Wow.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And when the war ended, he found himself trying to still fight to preserve his country and take back his country.
My goodness.
And he joined a grassroots movement that was actually headed by a Redemptorist priest. Him and his brothers and his brother-in-law and his cousins. And I think in 1979, that group was they found out about the group. They meaning the communists found out about the group, and as a result, most of the members were either assassinated or put in political camp. Is it POW camp?
Yeah, prisoner of war, basically.
Yeah. Rehabilitation camp.
So that
Rehabilitation
was a
camp.
common thing, though, right? I mean, after the war,
Yes.
because you had
That's right.
the communists prevailed essentially in that, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
after the conflict.
Right.
So there was a lot of that rehabilitation, and I guess if you didn't concede to everything, it was not a good outcome.
Correct.
Okay, so did your dad have to go into any of that, or did he circumvent that?
He circumvented that. He actually somehow, and I'm saying somehow lightly because it's really by the grace of God that led him out of the trouble that he was in, out of harm's way. I think he and maybe only one other relative were able to escape safely, whereas even the priest that was head of that organization ended up passing away in the prison. But my dad, in 1979, escaped to a remote region in north of where we were. Our family's from poor Delta areas, like the rice paddy, the farmers, you live off the land type of area. We did not migrate from North Vietnam in 1975, or 1954 rather, down south to the city. It was actually to the poors of the areas, a small Catholic hamlet in Vietnam. And so in 1979, he escaped to a remote area. And it just happened, I think in 1981 was when my mom, I have an older sister, and myself, and we lived with our grandparents. My father moved away, never saw him again, and my mother would leave us with, our grandparents to go take care of him, right? Because he was, quote unquote, he escaped, right? He didn't really have like a mean to...
So he had to leave y'all.
He had to leave us.
And that must have ripped him apart.
Right.
So you just have your one sister. Okay. So he leaves behind his family. Has no choice to do that. It's either that or he's going to be, in jail, I guess, or rehabilitated, which we all know what rehabilitated means. Come on, let's be honest. All right, so he has to leave y'all.
Or assassinated.
Well, that's pretty much where it probably would have ended up, right? I mean, we don't want to speculate on that, but still, it sounds like he was involved in something that they wouldn't have liked very much. So, okay, so he leaves y'all, and how long did it go into that you didn't see your dad?
Gosh, I think I've maybe only visited him twice. On the second visit in 1981, I remember I was 7 years old, and he was living in this remote area underneath, by the mountains, right? Like at the foot of this hill, I remember. And he had taken on a different person's name, like an alias. And I was given a new name too. But anyways, my mother was always very careful as to only take either me or my sister to go visit my father. And on that second time that I went to go visit him, I remember, one day my parents decided to move into the city, and they were trying to buy this house. It didn't work out. and then they discovered that his identity was being found out. They went to this cathedral, I think it's St. Joseph Cathedral, and pray and receive a sign that he needed to somehow escape to America. So when people try to, so from the time that the war ended, 1975, right, to 81, there were an exodus of people that were trying to escape Vietnam, and everyone had in mind America.
America.
Right? So no one was like, oh, we're going to escape to Canada, you know?
Why America?
Oh, because America was the ally in the war,
Okay.
for once. America represented freedom, religious freedom, most
So that was
importantly.
important?
That's very important.
Okay.
Religious freedom was the reason why my family left North Vietnam to go down to South Vietnam in 1954.
So they were Catholic,
They
but
were
they were
Catholic.
not allowed to freely practice Catholicism.
Yes, I would say, yeah.
Let's put it this way. What was the pressure that they felt? Like, was there a particular event that they told you, hey, when this happened, we realized we had to leave North Vietnam? Was there anything like that?
I think that it was the proliferation of communism.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't like one event, or it wasn't anything like that. It was just that it was the invasion.
And that was, is it Ho Chi Minh? Who was that under?
It was Ho Chi Minh.
Ho Chi Minh, okay. And there's a city in there. I think that's the capital, right?
Saigon, the capital of Vietnam is Saigon.
Right, okay.
And since 75, it's renamed as Ho Chi Minh City.
Okay, all righty. I've heard that mentioned before. And I'm like, I know that there's a distinction there. But so freedom of religion was one of the number one things.
Sure.
Okay, that's pretty significant. All right. So, okay, you went for all this period of time not seeing your dad. So he's literally had to escape, changed his name. You got a new name. How did that work out? Like, how did all that arrangement happen? Because if someone gave me a new name, my kids, it'd be hopeless. We'd be done in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I guess I was like, preconditioned.
Okay.
Right? Like I was born into the whole chaos. Am I right? Like,
Good way to say it,
you're
yeah.
born into that chaos. And so that chaos becomes the norm, correct? And I remember my mom telling my sister and I that if anybody ever asks where your dad is, tell them he's in America. So,
okay.
I hate to say it, but, I feel like we had an identity crisis. We were born into that identity crisis, right?
Interesting, yeah.
And it wasn't until in my adult life, when I had children of my own, do I really knew my identity, my true identity, and my self-worth. And that's rooted in God,
Yes.
obviously, right?
I love that, yes.
And so, but for the longest time, I didn't know who I was and who I'm supposed to be. But you were asking me earlier, how did I landed in America?
Yeah, I want to know your story about how you got from there to here. So, well, we're 1981. You said you were visiting your dad. Okay, and so you're still a child, right?
Yes.
You have very clear memories of that time frame.
Yes.
That's pretty impressive because I don't remember any part of my relative childhood at all. So that's great as it is. All right, so take us from there, and what happened with you, your mom, your sister, your dad? Just I really want to hear what's the train of events that happened.
Well, I went on my second visit to see my father. I think one evening, my parents decided that my dad just had to leave. Like he had to leave, had to escape again. Like he's always running.
Yeah.
And he would have to run very, very far away, like to America.
Right.
I remember my mother handing leaflets of gold to one of the people that organized these escape. So there's always like little pockets of people trying to put together an escape, and it always involves someone with a boat and money involved and a lot of hush-hush. And so it just happened that my mother knew of someone who was leaving, who had a little plan going on. And I remember we were staying at a relative's house. She met up with someone, handed over the gold. The next morning, my father and I were put on this bus. And I did not realize that was going to be the last time that I will ever see my mother again until, another 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And at that time, I still remember like it was like yesterday. It was raining a little bit. She had on this white shirt, black pants, her hair tied back, and I didn't realize it, but she was pregnant at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, she was about maybe 6 months pregnant. It was June 1981.
Okay.
Yeah. And put my father and I on the bus. And
why were you with your father? Why was that decision made that you and your father would go?
my sister was back at the farm with my grandparents.
Okay.
We lived with my grandparents. My father lived in a remote area,
Right.
by the mountain. My mother would come home maybe every other week to visit my sister and I. And once in a while, maybe about once a year, she would take one of us to go visit Dad.
Right.
And she was always careful not to take both sisters because that might arouse suspicion that, they're making an escape or they're whatever, right? So, and it just, as luck has it, or as, that I happened to be the sister that was there when my father needed to leave.
So the decision was made that you would escape
with my dad.
With your dad. So it just happened to be that was the trip you were on.
That happened to be the trip that I was on.
Okay.
And then also my mother and my father didn't want to leave my sister back.
Okay.
So one of them, well, I mean, it wasn't like the choice was, there wasn't a choice of who was going to stay.
Yeah.
He was the one that had to leave.
Right. Wow. So you and your father are sitting on this bus. You didn't know this would be the last time you'd see your mom for 8 years. And you're just a child.
Yes, I was 7 years old.
So you hugged her, kissed her goodbye, but you didn't know it was going to be goodbye for a while.
Right.
So the bus pulls off, you're with your father, and what happened then?
The bus stopped in this little remote area, and we got off the bus, and we walked into this field. It was like it's not a sugar cane field, it was a cornfield.
Okay.
I remember walking to the cornfield, and we were walking to this designated meeting spot. They call it the chicken house. And once I got there, I saw there were people were there. There were families that were already there. There were people that was just like kind of hovering in little corners, pockets of the area. And I thought I was just, taking a field trip somewhere.
Go to corn maze, right? Yeah.
My mom did tell me, tomorrow you're going to America. Well, I didn't know what America was.
So she told you that?
She did tell me, but then she said, I'll see you in a couple of days. So I'm thinking,
well, just a little bit longer than that.
Right,
but,
right.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And, and I was used to taking trips with Mom.
Right, yeah.
She's a businesswoman in Vietnam, so she make many trips, and she's taken me on trips. But anyways, I thought it was just a trip with me and Dad.
So you were in school at the time, or what was going on with that? At 7 years old, I guess you were, American first grade. But I don't, what was going on with your school situation?
I was not a very studious student. I lived with grandparents, and they spoiled me. I'll go to school and I feel like it. And my sister was more of the studious one.
Okay, so we're learning a lot about you, actually.
I'm the sister that would sleep late, and I didn't want to go to school, but.
Well, what kid really does? But no, I get you. Okay, so you were kind of in school. So this field trip was welcome with you and your dad. Okay, all right.
Exactly.
But so you see all these people in this area.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
So I didn't know what I was thinking. I was like, where are we? I mean, people were just like, it was just really eerie. There were people sitting around and hovering around, and by this time I was very exhausted from traveling. Okay. I remember when nightfall. They were passing out this, what do you call that? The little metal necklace, like the dog tag?
Dog tag, yeah.
The dog tag.
With the name on it? Yeah.
With the name on it. And so I remember hearing, okay, everybody who paid, right, put this on. This is, evident that this is your ticket. Correct.
It's like when you go to the amusement park and they give you
Right.
that band to ride the ride.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Something like that. Sure.
Sure. Right. So you received one, and your dad
I did not
received
receive one. My
You did
dad
not.
received one.
Okay.
And so night fell. When it got dark, we all got up and walked toward the water behind people's farm and homes. And even at this point, I was like, where are we going? What's going on? Right?
Yeah.
And we got to the water, and I have never seen the ocean before.
Before that time,
Before that time, I've never been
It's like
to
a
the
giant
beach.
swimming pool, right? You know?
Yeah, it was like, I mean, it was a nighttime, and I used to imagine in my head, this sounds crazy, but I'm like, you know what? I wonder what the ocean water looked like. I was thinking orange. I don't know why I was thinking that the water was going to be orange.
Hey, why not? Fanta. Right?
So we got to the boat. We got to the escape boat, right?
Okay.
That's the spot, and it was nighttime, and the light on the boat was shining, and water was splashing up. And what color was it? Orange. And I'm like,
wow! Looky there.
you know,
You were right all along.
exactly.
You
So,
knew it.
but anyways, I remember there was like a little scuffle that broke out. There were some people that didn't pay that was trying to get on the boat, right? And I remember there was one girl, she was a teenager, and she dressed like a boy. Because she was a teenager, they had pity on her and allowed her to get on the boat.
Okay.
So there were about 36 people on that boat.
Okay.
This small little boat.
It was like a fishing boat
It's like
type of thing?
it looks like a little fishing boat.
Little fishing
like
boat, okay.
all of us
Okay.
cram into this little, small little fishing old boat, right?
Yes.
And I think like the first night we were given like caps full of water to hydrate ourselves. Like,
That's it? Like a
yeah,
little
like a
bottle
little cap, like a little bottle cap, right? So everybody was passing around with a little cap full of water. I don't think that they anticipate that we were going to actually be out in the ocean for as long as we ended up being in the ocean.
Okay.
But I remember it was like maybe the second night. I saw in the distance this great light, and I thought it was land. I thought it was our destination, and by that time I was like majorly dehydrated, and I asked my dad, it's like, look, when we get there, can you buy me a root beer? Because that's what I really would love right now. Well, it turns out it was actually the communist ship. And when you run, remember you're trying to escape, right?
Yeah.
And there's the odds of you making it from like 1975 to 1981, it's probably, and please don't quote me on this, if I were to guess, it's probably less than 50%.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Less than 50%. You risk drowning.
Yeah.
You risk Mother Nature. You risk pirates.
Yes,
Right?
and you're not talking about Johnny Depp here.
No,
You're
we're not talking about Johnny Depp.
No.
We're talking about Cambodian and Thai
Right.
pirates who
They're
kill
not nice
and
to you.
rape
Yeah.
and yes.
It's awful,
Yes.
yes. Oh,
and
gosh. But you weren't aware of any of this.
No, of course
you're
not.
A
I was
child,
7 years old.
But your dad must have had
Yeah.
so much running through his mind. My goodness.
But think about that for a
Wow.
second. Think about the mother who's pregnant, putting their child
Yeah.
on that boat. Think about the courage. Think about all those other men and women who have the courage to do that.
That's right. Yeah.
For what? Not so that we can come to, America or France or Canada or Australia to make it big, or for the good life, right? It's for freedom.
Literally, yeah, freedom. Just to survive.
God-given rights,
Yeah.
right? As human beings, right?
Well, risking literally everything.
Yeah, right.
Life itself.
Correct.
For that.
And
That's
it was
very
worth
powerful.
it. It's worth it, right?
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of grit
Yeah.
for my mother to do that, and the women in my family, every one of them are like that.
How old were your parents at this time?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think my dad was maybe in his late 20s, I think.
Late 20s?
I need to
Okay.
do the math, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your mom was about the same age or a little younger?
Yeah, my mom was about, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So y'all are. So I want to go back to this. You're on this boat. You said it was the second night.
It was around the second night when we ran into the communist ship. I remember panic. I remember there was this lady that was sitting next to my dad and I, and she was like clinging onto him. She's like, "Can you please make sure to let them know that I am your like you're my husband and that you're going to protect me, right?" And I just remember her doing that.
Wow.
And I remember they made all the men go over to their ship or their boat. All the women and the children were left behind. Okay.
Okay, so the communist vessel they commandeered where y'all were on the little boat.
Right.
So they made an announcement and everybody just was panicking.
Sure.
So then they take all the men.
Yes.
And the women and the kids are left on the fishing boat.
Yes.
Okay, so your dad had to separate from you.
Correct.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe that they took everything that belonged to everyone, like the jewelry, anything of value was taken away from them. And I think that they even dumped like our fuel.
Okay.
Right, to leave us for dead, I guess, or food. And years later, recently, last year, I went to Austin to visit with the captain of that boat. Yeah,
Really?
I did. And
Oh,
he
my
shared
word.
with me, he said that something that you didn't know was that when all of us men, I was trying to regurgitate everything that I remember as a 7-year-old. And he was like, "Oh my God, like I cannot believe that you actually remember it."
Wow.
Like it was just yesterday, like accurately. And he said that what you didn't know was that while all the men were on the boat, most of the men begged the communists to take them back home, that they did not want to continue this trip anymore because it was just too, it wasn't what they bargained for, right?
Okay.
And at that time, everybody was like trying to decide if they should stay, if they should continue, or if they should go back. And my dad was the only one that stood up and said, "We are not going back. We will not ever go back to that. We're
Wow.
gonna go, and we're gonna trust God, and we're gonna go. And I'm not
Like
leaving."
your dad, and I hadn't met him yet.
And it's like, "I'm not leaving
That's
my
awesome.
daughter. You're not taking me and leaving my daughter."
He's told this to these communists.
He told this to the communists and to all the men that was.
So he
that
just
were on the
stood up
boat.
in front of everyone,
Right.
basically.
And because of him, they made the decision. Some were reluctant, but yeah, to continue with the trip. So
Wow.
by the mercy of God, we got lucky. I mean, not everyone had that story of running into the communist ship and survive, right? Or
Absolutely,
or not
yeah.
be taken back,
Right.
and thrown in prison, or even worse. But we continue.
I'm sorry, but I'm shocked at this. So you're telling me that they took them in, talked to them. Your dad stands up and essentially tells them, "We're going to keep going."
Right.
And the communists were okay with this?
I think there had to have been some kind of bargaining or some kind. I believe that they did not want to take all those men back anyways, or they wouldn't
Okay.
finish with what they were doing,
Okay.
pillaging or whatever that they were doing.
Uh-huh.
And so they're like, "Okay, we've got what we were able
But they
to."
took your fuel. So what? The boat they pull off. How was that able to continue?
Well,
How were y'all able to keep going?
that wasn't their problem, right?
That wasn't their problem.
That
yeah.
wasn't their problem.
Like you said, left you for dead. They could care
Right,
less.
right.
Okay.
So we remained. We actually ended up there for like 6 days, 7 nights.
On
In
the
the
boat in that
middle
one
of
spot?
in the middle of the ocean,
Oh.
drifting.
Oh. So all of you were on this boat, just drifting along.
Drifting along.
Food, water.
There wasn't any water. I remember my dad spitting in my throat. I remember my dad spitting in my throat. I remember the exact spot where I sat at on that boat. It was next to, in the middle of the boat, was the motor, maybe about the size of this desk. And I sat right next to that motor, and there was a window to my right. And the whole time I had my hand out like this in the water, right?
Gosh, yeah.
And the smell of that diesel still gets to me. Like every time I smell it, it's like PTSD of the diesel.
understand.
And I think that eventually on the 7th day, we ran into one of the Louisiana oil platform.
Okay.
And I remember it had Panama written on the side of it.
Okay.
Okay. And so there was this lady that spoke a little English. She was a dentist. She got on the boat and she was able to talk to the people on that oil platform. And I remember the men on there was just like directing us to keep going. Like, y'all keep going, there's somebody waiting for you guys. And I think that's the first time that I've ever seen the ocean in daylight. Like, my dad beckoned me up. He's like, hey, you want to come see something cool? I'm like, sure. Got on the boat, and I tell you what, I mean, the waves were like this. Like, I felt like it was just going to swallow us. So eventually, we made it to another vessel.
Okay.
All of us got off of the boat, got into that vessel, and I just remember it was like, have you ever read Gulliver's Travel?
It's been a long time if I did.
Yeah, well, once I got on that boat, I felt like I was in the land of giants. I have never seen men that are taller than 5 foot with like hard hats and, you know, just towering and blonde hair and
the
like
land of giants. That
yes,
makes sense
I
now.
was just like, oh my God, you know. And I remember they had already rescued other Vietnamese refugees.
Okay.
There were other Vietnamese refugees, and I remember I was stripped naked, and the nurse was putting red iodine all over my body. I had developed cold sores over my body, was completely dehydrated, and I glanced over into the ocean, and I saw this black boat was just being ripped to shred by the water. And I was like, my dad's like, that's our boat. I was like, what? We were in there for
So you
7
talk about
days. Yeah.
the essence of time here.
Right.
Like if y'all had still been on that vessel,
Yeah.
it wasn't gonna be. Did everyone make it?
Everyone made it.
Okay.
There were 36 of us.
That's a miracle.
36 and a half. There was a pregnant lady.
So was it mostly adults? Were there any? You mentioned the one
children.
teenager. There were children. Okay.
There were, let's see, I think there were 4 children, including myself.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So for all that time that you were on that smaller vessel, you just sat there. Yeah. Did everyone just pretty much sit there and waited? There was nothing you could do.
There wasn't anything that you can do. There were people praying and.
Wow. Okay. So now you find yourself in the land of the giants, or on this new vessel. I love that term. That's great. So tell us about that experience.
I remember that. I remember men, you know, hanging off of the ledge, looking at us, and they were throwing down fruits, and they were throwing down oranges, and you know, I've never seen an orange before in my life. In Vietnam, we pick it while it's still green, so I have no clue what that was. I saw this big old green fruit, and it was a pear. It was as big as my head, and I went for the pear, right? And all the women, all the mothers went for the citrus, for the vitamin C, for the oranges.
Yeah.
And I remember the first meal that they fed us was red beans and rice.
Now that's some good eating.
We didn't think so.
You didn't think so?
Because we thought it was pig slop. But it was some good pig slop. It was so good.
It does look like pig slop now that you bring.
Yeah, we're from the poor farming hamlet of Vietnam where we raise, you know, hogs and chickens, and that's what we feed our pigs. We feed them whatever that's left over, and that's what it looks like. You've got the beans, you've got the meat that the sausage that you can't recognize,
I'll never eat red beans and rice and not think of pig slop now. This has been a life-changing discussion.
Well, I tell you what, it was so good, it was life-changing, right?
I'd hate to think what you call gumbo, but anyways.
And you know, as fate has it, we were picked up by a Louisiana platform, and here I am.
It's the irony of that.
My home is Louisiana.
Look at that.
You know?
My goodness. Do you still eat red beans and rice?
I love red beans and rice.
There you
what
go.
You're talking about.
So you were obviously famished, right? You were
Yeah.
starving. So when you were willing to eat the pig slop, and then you
Yeah.
realized it wasn't so bad.
Right.
But that's
Right.
pig slop. All right. So we've all learned something new on that one.
Yeah.
How long were you on that vessel?
I don't remember, but this is 1981. So there's been like an exodus of people that have left Vietnam since 1975 to that time. And so the UN has, you know, something planned out for to receive the Vietnamese refugees. And so immediately we were taken to this remote island in Indonesia.
Oh wow. Okay.
So we landed we landed at night, and the island was called Kuku, Kuku.
Cuckoo.
Yeah, Kuku. And I remember we got there at night, and they made everybody line up for a physical checkup, and there wasn't anywhere for them to put us. And so we ended up sleeping outside, like on this mat under the trees.
Okay.
The following day, I think the people there handed out like vinyl plastic, almost like the vinyl that you put under your rolling chairs.
Yeah.
So we made a tent out of that for our little camp. Like we made a little tent out of that.
Okay.
And it was monsoon season during that time too. And so one night it rained so bad, this one tree fell and narrowly missed my dad's head. Right?
Goodness.
So we were in that refugee camp for, I don't remember how long. I have to go back and ask the elders, but for a few months. Wow. And then eventually we were taken by boat to another Indonesian island called Ga Lang. That's Vietnamese phonics. I'm sure for Indonesia it's probably pronounced something different. But anyway, we were taken to Ga Lang, and we stayed there for I think maybe about almost a year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was quite an adventure at the Indonesian on the islands.
How many people were there total, do you think, on these islands?
Oh, goodness. I think that, there were thousands of
goodness.
Vietnamese refugees that were waiting to be processed and vetted and sponsored to other countries.
So the whole island was essentially just one giant refugee camp. Or in both of these cases, both the islands. I remember Cuckoo, but I don't remember the other one. But so while you were on these islands, so you're now 7, I guess, crossing over to 8 years old, and yeah, I mean that would be the math. So at what point did you realize I'm not seeing my mom and my sister, or how did that? What were you thinking with that?
I remember crying at night, missing my sister and my mother so much, but I never thought that I would never see them again. I knew I was going to see them again, because for me that was the process. Like it had to be that way. Yeah. Like the hardship was part of it. So it was never like, oh my gosh, why did my dad make that decision, or any of that. It was always like, a matter of time.
Yeah.
For me, right? It will be a matter of time before we get sponsored to one of the great nations, right? Hopefully America. It matter of time before I see my mother and my sister and my brother, who wasn't born at the time.
So y'all knew that, I mean, you found out later that your mom was pregnant. And so she had by now had your little brother. Okay. Did you know about that?
No.
So just, I guess, fast forwarding, then we'll come back. How long before you knew that you had another sibling?
I don't remember. I think that maybe once we came to America and start receiving letters and pictures.
So it was a while.
It was a while.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So are you still in touch, or do you know people that you met on, whether it was the boat, any of the boats, or any of those refugee islands / camps that you were on? You still keep in touch?
Yes, as a matter of fact. And there was another teenager on the boat at the time. She was only a teenager at the time. She eventually came to America, and I think she received her PhD or her master, and found all 35 of us.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
And in
incredible.
in 2013, we had a reunion
Oh,
in New
wow.
Orleans.
Wow.
Hmm. Hmm.
So everyone was still alive and
With
man, it's
exception
incredible.
of the lady who spoke English and was pregnant at the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's still incredible that so many survived and made it through
yeah,
that whole process. Okay.
that's right.
So you're spending this time I'm just trying to, and you have to forgive me, I'm trying to process what life was like. Like I know life in America, we call it tough as, hey, I ate dinner late or something, but what was it like? Just give us an overview as much as you can. What it was like living. Did you find it fun actually a little bit of it, or was it just truly every day we're just waiting to get out of this place. We're waiting to get out of this
No,
place.
it wasn't like that at all for me. I can guess for other people, like for my dad, I'm sure he's wondering, am I, what's going to happen, what the future holds, when will I ever reunite with my family again? Will we be going to America, or do we have to go to Canada or some other nations, right? For me, it was like it was an adventure.
Okay.
It was an adventure. Um,
Hmm.
I was like, I don't know, it was like the best Indian summer for me.
I love that. That I guess that's the faith and the innocence of a child, right?
Yes,
So for
yes,
you, it was an adventure,
yes.
like Indiana Jones or something.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you made friends like other
Mhm.
children there. So
Right.
were y'all in school or was there
We
education that
were.
happened?
We were. So once there was an established Vietnamese community of refugees on that second island where we stayed. There was a priest we call Father Dominique. It's actually Dominici, which
Dominici.
means Dominici, Father Dominique. He spoke Vietnamese. And we, go to mass and fellowship with other Catholics there. Went to Sunday school. And remember, I was living in the most beautiful island as a child. Like every day, I was going to the beach, barefooted to the beach. And to get to the beach, you have to go through the forest or the jungle. And this is
Okay.
like the rainforest. This is tropical with like Venus flytraps everywhere and flowers and waterfalls. And I'm sure snakes and whatever, but again, I was protected. I was innocent. Did not.
No.
There
So
were there was no fear. There was no fear, and so I remember though. My job was to go every Saturday. I would have to follow the other elders to pick up our food supplies.
Okay.
And I don't know where Dad was. I think he's probably always fishing. But every single time, every morning, I would have to wake up on Saturday. I'd wake up and I would have to like go get the supplies, and they were heavy. And this is the kind of food that we eat. It would be like a little bag filled with canned foods and rice and noodles or whatever, and then
Okay.
you cook it yourself.
Okay.
And I mostly would cook my own food
All
because
right.
Dad's always gone.
Out fishing.
Yeah. Or playing with the kids or go to school or
Okay.
yeah.
So your life for that period of time was you were just having your little adventure, and you weren't aware of the bigger picture of what was
Right.
actually going on. Again, the beauty. You were protected as a child. I think you said that so
Yeah.
well. All right. So you're on this island for the second one now. For you said about a period of a year.
About a year.
Okay. So then that year time span we're looking at concludes. What happens next?
So what happens next is the process is like this. If you have relatives in another country that can sponsor you, the faster that they can do the paperwork and sponsor you, the faster you can get off of the island.
Okay.
Okay? But if you don't have anyone to sponsor you, and it does not have to be a relative, most of the people that get sponsored are sponsored by churches or by random Americans that open their homes and their hearts.
Wow.
To them. I think that one of a person that was on our boat, he got stuck back on that island for like years because nobody would sponsor him. But anyway, so I remember the name that they gave to our group was HR 061236. And basically every day you hear the intercom will come on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hear HR 061236 in Vietnamese, then we all line up and go down to a designated area in the town.
Okay.
And sit in front of, I guess, the representative of the United Nations, maybe.
Okay.
Whether it's American or other countries, and go through the interviewing process, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember, but we were very fortunate because my dad has a cousin that was living at Miami, Florida at the time.
Mm-hmm.
When the war ended, 1975, they were able to get on one of the helicopters and flew to Guam, and then immediately came to America. They did not have to go through the escape, the boat process that we went through. So we were supposed to have gone to Miami, but they had a son that decided he wanted to go to Louisiana State University.
I know where that is.
They moved. So that's Baton Rouge, our hometown.
Right.
Right. And so our process got delayed a little bit, and so thus we were there for about a year in the refugee camp.
So that's why you were there that long, because your dad's cousin, you said, they were making the transition from Miami up here to Baton Rouge.
To Baton Rouge, yeah.
Okay, so that connection finally happened, though, obviously. Okay, so
Yes.
you heard that. So what was it? It was HR
061236. So HR, in the beginning, I thought HR meant human rescue, but later when I met with the captain of the boat recently, he explained to me that the name of our boat had hurricane written on the outside of it. And so HR is hurricane, 06 is June, 12 is 12, 36 people were rescued.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay.
36 and a half. There was a pregnant lady.
Okay. Now you said that, obviously they said that in Vietnamese.
Hmm?
Right? They said that in Vietnamese, not in English. So how does it sound? Let's just hear it.
It's HR061236.
Very neat. Wow. I wouldn't even start to try to learn that one. Okay. So tell me about you actually getting, so the news, did you actually get the news like your father was told, okay, you're getting off the island, right? I'm sure they told you that.
Yeah.
So what did that process look like? What was going on?
So once you're given a designated time that you would go, and this is like everyday occurrence for us. It's like, oh, somebody's leaving today. Our neighbor actually is leaving tomorrow, and so it's
That's interesting.
it's bittersweet because you're happy, and then you think about the people that got left behind, and you don't know if they're ever gonna get off the island. They will, but like how long?
Yeah.
And so I was just so conditioned and used to saying bye to friends.
Wow.
And
Okay. So your day finally came.
My day finally came. We got on the boat, and which took us to Singapore.
Okay.
Took us to Singapore. We were in Singapore for about a week. And I tell you what, I've never seen anything like Singapore.
What do you mean?
Imagine a 7-year-old that has never left her country, and step foot in this land of civilization that Singapore was.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
I remember the first time I saw a revolving door. I remember the first time I saw the escalator.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
We have buses and buildings and roads and that sort of stuff in Vietnam.
Yeah.
the first time I was at the Singapore Mall, I was like eye-opening. It was crazy.
Wow.
It was adventurous. It was just so wondrous. You know, such an
Wow.
adventure. It was such an adventure.
I could not tell you the first time that I saw a revolving door, an escalator, a
Yeah.
mall. It's just always been a thing. The fact that you have that clear memory and that you
Yeah.
can say, I remember that.
Yeah.
I know the way that you got to be able to say this is not necessarily the greatest, but that's very cool that you can say, I remember all of
Yeah,
these things.
I do.
And the things that we just take for granted. So I guess everybody else does, but for you, that was a whole new
Yeah.
world. That's
Air
incredible.
conditioning.
Oh my, yes. Praise the Lord for air conditioning. What was that like for you? Wow, where am I?
Right. What is that?
What is that? It's cold. It's wonderful.
I
So
know.
all of that was new, like
Yeah.
but you were introduced to that when you got to Singapore.
Singapore.
So you had a week where your world was just,
Right.
your mind was blown.
Yes. And I
That's
didn't know
awesome.
what to expect in America. I thought that all Americans live in high rises. Because, you know, like the pictures the books that we have in Vietnam and the postcards at the time were all like New York skyscrapers.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I can't wait to come to America. I'm going to live in a high rise, you know?
Well, no, not quite. Yeah.
And so, so from Singapore, we flew directly to America, stopped at in Japan,
Okay.
and then stay in Los Angeles for maybe about a night or two.
So Los Angeles is
Los Angeles.
that's where you first came into the country.
To the country, first time seeing a yellow bus.
Okay, well here's the thing. So you land at
Yes.
was it LAX at the time? I don't know, whatever it was. You land at
Probably.
the airport.
Yeah.
All right, so you step off that plane, you and your father. You
Yes.
step off that plane.
Right.
And now was there anyone with you that had become friends or close, or is it just you two?
I think it was just no, I'm sorry. It was a bunch of us because we all got to stay together at this one designated area, like an apartment.
Okay. So you had some familiar faces that were with you to
Right.
experience this. So you step off the plane, and I remember coming back to the United States after I left the country for the first time. My wife and I, when we came back in, we were so just like, I don't know how to say it other than just we were so grateful to be back in the United States.
Yeah.
This was your first time coming.
Yeah.
So do you remember it being a special, significant moment when you walked onto, quote, U.S. soil for the first time? Or were you just like, it's just another part of the adventure? What was running through your mind?
You know, I wish that I have a better story for you, but it was just another stop for me.
No, that's okay. That's what I wanted to hear is what was going through your 8-9-year-old mind. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the plane ride itself was like, oh my gosh, like how do you beat that, right?
It's true, yeah.
You know, it was
good
Continental.
point.
I remember it was Continental, and they gave out
There
like
you
this
go.
little Continental airplane thing, and that was like the greatest thing ever.
Nice,
And
okay.
then I just
Okay.
remember that they show a movie, and I slept through the whole thing, and my dad was like, "Oh, you missed the movie."
Fun. So, all right. So now you're in Los Angeles.
So now I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay.
We stay there for I think 2 nights
Okay.
in Los Angeles, and then I believe we flew to Dallas,
Okay.
and then from Dallas to Baton Rouge.
All
Right?
right,
I
okay.
do remember though, once we landed in Baton Rouge and came to the house of our relatives who sponsor us and where we will be staying, I was thoroughly disappointed because
We're disappointed because it wasn't high rise,
it
right?
wasn't a high rise.
We don't have high rises
was
still
high-rise.
in Baton Rouge.
And you know
Sorry,
what?
yeah.
And I remember, but you know the crazy part was that what stood out for me was the neatly manicured lawn.
Oh, yeah.
I was
okay.
like, what the heck is this?
Mm-hmm.
There, like,
Of all things.
yes, of all things. I was just like so intrigued by this neatly cut patch of green grass.
Well, you know, we still have people that are very proud of that to this day.
Yes.
And I personally can't stand doing yard work, but that's a whole other story. We won't go down that
Maybe
road.
that's why I have such an obsession today with like my lawn has to be like perfectly edged.
So it's not just to get that Yard of the Month award. You have a reason. No, that's
I have
good.
a reason.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
brings back great fond childhood memories.
Okay, all right. So, but here's where I want to get to. Okay, so your dad, you in Baton Rouge, Louisiana now. You've just literally gone halfway across the world.
Yeah.
And through all of this.
Yeah.
And it's now been coming up. It's got to have been 2 years since you left, give or take, right? My math is
About a year and a half, maybe.
year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so year and a half. First of all, what did y'all do when you got here? Did
What
he
did we do when we
work,
got
or
here? Yes.
how did that happen?
So I went to school, La Belle Air Elementary,
Okay.
walking distance of my house, of the house we're staying in. So I stayed with an elder, and my aunt, my dad's cousin, and her family. And my dad ended up staying with his other cousin, a male cousin,
Okay.
in North Baton Rouge. And so I didn't really live with my dad. I was in the care of my aunt.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I would walk to school every day. I started third grade.
Okay.
And I failed the third grade because I did not know the English language.
You didn't know English,
I did not know English.
and they still put you in school?
Yes, yes. So well, the school at the time had what is called ESL, second language
Okay. Yes.
class, and so resource class was what they call it, and I went there.
I see.
Yeah, yeah,
That's amazing. So here
Yeah.
you are, a child. You've left your culture, your home. No, I shouldn't say left your culture, but you've left the way of life that you were accustomed to growing up.
Yeah.
You go through this, and now you're here in America.
Yeah.
You don't know English. You're just totally thrown in.
Yeah.
That must have been. Was that overwhelming for you? Did you feel odd or outcast, or did you feel like?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
it was. I felt like I think I had anxiety at the time, but I didn't know what to call it.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
And there was a bit of an identity crisis, you know.
Okay.
And as a child, all you want is just safety, correct? And I just safety or just a harbor. But anyways, I assimilated, and by the next school year, I started to make straight A's.
You learned English that quickly in a year. Wow, that's incredible. I would not probably be able to learn Vietnamese in a year, so that's very impressive. So the next year, you were straight A student. The one who didn't want to get up and go to school back home is now the straight A student. I'm not
That's right.
surprised. I'm not surprised. So you aced third grade. But you stay. So did that stay that way for where you and your
I
dad
stayed
were
an honor
separated?
roll student for until all the way to high school and college.
I'm not surprised.
My dad taught math, and he taught
Okay.
English and
In the school system?
no, me.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to figure out what did he start doing for work, or how did that
For
fit
work,
out?
he actually he first he worked at this seafood processing plant.
Okay.
And then eventually he worked at a body shop, AAA body shop,
Okay.
on Airline Highway. His boss was Bobby Lewis. I still remember him. So my dad eventually learned how to do body work,
Okay.
and that was his skill. That was his
awesome.
career.
Wow.
And then let's see. I think about when I was maybe in 7th or 8th grade. Yeah, I came home from school and received a call from the United Catholic Service off of Acadian that my mother had made it to Thailand.
Okay.
Refugee camp.
Wow. Okay.
And that was I remember that was probably one of the greatest, happiest days of my life.
Okay.
And I just couldn't wait for my dad to come home so that I could share that with him. So for her to be able to, her and my brother and my sister to be able to get out of Vietnam and made it to there, that was like half the battle.
Yeah. Okay. So
And
they
then-
have their own story to tell about getting here, but maybe you
right.
can help fill us in. How did they get over? What was their story like?
So my mother actually walked, and my sister and my brother took the walking route, the escape route from Vietnam, passing Cambodia to a designated friendlier refugee camp in Thailand. Yeah.
How long of a walk would that have been?
It's probably from here to Texas.
And that most certainly was dangerous, I'm
Very
assuming.
dangerous. Very, very dangerous.
Was it like
They
a
were
caravan, so to speak, or just small
They
groups?
they were smuggled in.
Smuggled in? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
they were smuggled in by
Wow.
people yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so then how did they finally tell us the
So
story getting here to the United States?
so there's a process in place, obviously, and they reached out to the United Catholic Service, I believe,
Okay.
and they found us. And I mean, I think at this point, my father had already been like corresponding home, right, via letter with my mom, so she knew exactly where he was living. And once you have the address and city and whatever, they're able to find us and get the paperwork started. So eventually, they came over,
Okay.
and now we're a united front.
Okay, well, just tell me about that moment when you saw your
When I
mom,
saw
sister,
my
and met your
mother,
brother.
yeah.
Just tell us about that moment.
Well, taken to bear in mind that I was a rebellious 14-year-old by then,
Well,
right?
straight A student still,
Yes,
but rebellious. Okay.
but rebellious. Last thing I need was another parent.
I see. Okay. Uh-huh.
I was raised by dad, uncles, and boy cousins.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So you could fight.
Yes, all the time. That's the only story that my dad ever has. If you ever ask him, how was she when she was growing up? Fighting all the time.
Fighting all
Always
the time.
Fight. As soon as she gets off the bus, she fights.
Yeah, I should interject. You did beat me in the arm wrestle earlier, but but,
I didn't know.
no. Well, hey, you really technically have been fighting all along. I mean,
Yeah.
with just your story alone is you doing that. But
Yeah.
it's amazing. So, all right. So you're 14.
I'm 14.
Your mom and your sister and your brother, whom you've never met.
Right.
Did you know you had a brother at that point?
Yes,
Okay.
of course.
So there'd been
Of course.
correspondence.
Yeah.
So they're coming. They came here to Baton Rouge,
Came
right?
here to Baton Rouge.
All
yeah.
right. So what
It
was
was,
running through your
man,
mind?
it was crazy because I was just so used to living with just me and my dad, right? And it wasn't always cozy at home. My dad's military,
Yeah.
right? I'm a very, as rough as I am, fighting all the time. I'm a very affectionate person, and as all girls are, we need, there was not any of that from a Vietnamese father, much less a military Vietnamese father. And so you would think that I welcome, I was very happy. And I was looking forward to having a family. But it was very different because culturally, right, I became so Americanized.
That quickly. Wow.
And my sister, my brother did not speak English. I think I speak fluent Vietnamese and write fluent Vietnamese, but there was a lack of connection there, right?
Okay.
My sister ended up starting high school, and my little brother was also about 7 or 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so he started just like how I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
when I came over, right. But yeah, today my dad's my best friend.
Oh, that's awesome. So sweet. Oh
yeah,
my gosh. So
and
they're all over here. I mean, the whole family's back together again. You're all here in Baton Rouge. Did you all like move into the same home or?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
Good.
we all
you
moved into
knew
the
that.
same home. I eventually graduated from high school, went to LSU, and started a family of my own. And so did my sister.
Wonderful.
She has 3 beautiful children.
Okay.
And she's a grandma. She has 3 grandkids. She's
That's
3 years older
awesome.
than me.
Okay.
Yes. And my little brother also has a family and 2 wonderful children and a beautiful wife.
That's awesome.
And and my dad and I meet every Saturday for coffee, powwow, fill up his gas, have a little breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever talk about your experiences together coming over here?
All the time.
All the time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to get my materials from somewhere, right? From my book.
Well, yeah, I mean, right, for real. Yeah, exactly. What about your mom?
My mother, oh gosh, my mother, I owe so much to her. Although we were separated, during those years from 7 to 14 years old, but she left such an impression on me as a child. Just the most kind, God-loving woman, and just like full of grit, just tough, right? Tough
Awesome.
businesswoman, leader of her family and of our family.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even not being there, she still was your mom for that period of time.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, that was. I looked to her and asked all the time, like, what would she do in this situation? Yeah.
That is remarkable. That is a true legacy right there. In fact, I've never had the pleasure yet of meeting either of your parents, obviously, but I can already tell I like them. And they just sound like incredible people to have gone through that. And I would say probably the same for your sister and your brother. I'm sure they're great, but this is just, your story is amazing. So just to really hone in on you for a second there. So you went to LSU, and what was your degree path? What did you study?
I studied microbiology. I thought that I was going to be a doctor. My dad said, you're either going to be a pharmacist, a doctor, or an engineer, a dentist. And I don't care what it is. It's just have to be doctor or engineer or something.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to go into art.
I could see that. Okay. All right.
And
but
I
he
used
said
to
not going to happen. Huh?
Oh, not going to happen. Yes, I want to be an artist. But
paint pictures in your own time.
Right. So I went down that path. I worked at an eye clinic. I worked for the dentist, and graduated and was going to go into optometry school.
Okay.
And at the time when I was after I graduated, was getting ready to move and go to optometry school, I was working at a bank at the time, and I found my passion. I was like, I like this. I like finance, and I've been in finance and different aspects of banking all these years.
I hope your dad approves.
Yes. He tells everybody that I'm the vice president of the bank.
Well, you know what? In his world, there is no other vice president to talk about. So that's right. And I might start calling you that from now on, just because, why not? But vice president of the bank. But, well, congratulations, though, on doing something that not a lot of people do, and that is finding a career, not just a job, right? But a career that you can grow and that you're still doing these years later.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And we'll wrap it up here, I promise. Your story is, I'm sure there's so many details. That's why you mentioned book. There's going to be a lot of details to fill those pages, right? But this is just kind of the overview of what you've been through.
Yeah.
But you look at the generation today, and I'm speaking more so of the younger generation, and I would say millennials, but let's even go a little younger than that. Just
Are you
generation.
a millennial?
I am. Yes, I know. So millennial generation and younger. Looking at your experience, because you've had things in your life that clearly we've never experienced, going through that difficulty, as I said, for us, challenges or just changes. It's a whole nother picture, a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
But based on your experience, your life, or also what you've gleaned from your parents and their story as well, do you have anything that you would share to, and I'm speaking about the American generation now, the Americans and us here, anything that you would share regarding what you see today going on? And let me give you a little context, if I may.
Sure.
My story, my family's story, my grandfather was an exiled German Jew, and he had to flee Nazi persecution. And in his older years here, and look, put it this way, he left Germany, but he was an American. He fought and served in the United States Army, and he loved this country. Got a Purple Heart, as a matter of fact. He loved this country. He learned English. I think he already knew it, but still, he spoke English. He loved the culture of this country. He loved the opportunity. This really became his home. And he looked at it, and over the years, and again, we don't want to get too political in this at all, but he looked at certain things happening, and he said, this is not the direction that I feel America should be going in, because I came from somewhere, and I saw what happened, and I saw how changes happen, and this is not right. This country does not need to go in that direction. We need to remain a bastion of freedom and liberty and a land of opportunity for the world. And I don't know if the light of America has remained as strong as maybe it was in prior years, but I love this country. This is my home. And I'm proud to be an American. I pray for our nation, for our leaders every day. I love our country. But I want to hear it from you. Is there anything, and you don't have to answer this, of course, but is there anything that you would say to America, to the younger generation, to say, hey, pay attention to this. Learn this lesson from experiences that others have had so we don't have to learn it the hard way. Do you kind of see what I'm asking?
Well, I would say that I'd like to share what I would say to my children, or what I have, share with my kids, is that I find that in America today, and not just in America, I see it also in the new Vietnam today, that there's an identity crisis, and I, for one, can relate to that, right? Having came from Vietnam and to America, and not really know who I am, right? And for the longest time, trying to find myself, my self-worth of who I am, right? And I guess I wanted to say that there's an identity crisis in people today, that they don't know who they are, where they came from, and what's important. Everything is kind of in the gray. There's no black and white. There's no absolution. Lots of confusion, right?
Good point.
And there's, not to get political, but there's right and wrong, right? And we are living as if we're living in those old age, like the age of the judge, back in biblical time.
Every man did that which was right in his own eyes.
Correct.
That's how the book closes out.
Yeah. And your true identity lies in your who and not what you do. And your true identity is what I share with my children, is that it's not that you're Vietnamese, or you're Asian, or you're, whatever it is. It's the fact that you were created in His image. That's it. That's your self-worth. So when you sit in a classroom, and my children are and I have to have this talk with them, because they did not have the luxury, and I'm gonna call it a luxury, of having gone through what I've gone through, right? And their fathers and their forefathers have gone through, or the great men and women who fought for the freedom of our country, right? That generation.
Absolutely.
My children were born into, every home that they've lived in has been like a brand new construction home.
Okay.
Private school, right?
Nicely kept lawn.
Nicely kept lawn, exactly.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Right.
And you sit there in this classroom, and you look around, and no one looks like you.
Yeah.
Right? And that's when the enemy whispers and say, who do you think you are? You're not worth it. You're not worthy, right? That's when you need to realize that your identity is in Christ.
Excellent.
And I think that, I don't know if I answer your question. Your question has to do with...
You more than answered it, actually.
Yeah.
You more than answered it, because what you have said gives an answer for a lot of people, not just young people, but for everybody. But what you said is so significant. You mentioned you're sitting there in a classroom, you look around and you look different from everybody. And for some, that never crosses the mind because it's just, there's no reason to.
Right.
But you mentioned your children, and that's something that they did realize and they did look at, but they had a mom that was able to show them their true identity. And it wasn't just in what they looked like or
what school they went to.
yeah, all
Here
of
in Baton
those
Rouge,
things.
just what high school you went to, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But their true identity, and as you said it so beautifully, in Christ.
Right.
That means, and why that's so beautiful is because it really doesn't matter who you are. It matters who He is.
That's right.
And your story, which started at the beginning of our conversation, the whole reason that your family left
Yeah.
from North Vietnam was because their faith was so precious and dear to them.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the story of your family, you, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what it sounds like to me just listening is it's been a story that has had faith as a bedrock through the entire thing. You mentioned on the boat, people just praying. That is what, there's enough substance there to get you through. And in your case, what was
Right.
potentially an impossible situation. Miracles have, I have no doubt that the pages of your book are filled with miracles. There's probably miracles that you didn't even know took
Absolutely.
place, but did.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes your story so amazing and beautiful. But
Yeah.
it's one, you're speaking of faith.
Yeah.
And that's something that I pray we stay in this nation and individually, that we keep that faith, because without it, we don't have an identity.
We don't.
Really don't.
We do
So
not.
it's an amazing point that you bring up.
Yeah.
I love that.
So the young people in America, you do have an identity. You have an identity because you look at who created you and whose image you were created.
That's it.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so when you feel like you're struggling because you don't fit in, you know, you need to go with what you know and not what you feel. Am I right?
I love that.
Even like now, I mean, like if fear ever creeps in, and I could talk about fear and all that. I had like a whole family of triplets that followed me all my life, was fear and shame and guilt. You know,
Really?
as a matter of fact, in college when we were playing flag football, my jersey had guilty written behind it because I was feeling guilty that I'm in America and not my first cousins and my sister and my brother.
You felt guilty because
I felt guilty
you were
because
able to get out?
because
and
I was
come
able to
here?
get out. I'm the
Wow.
first person in Vietnam in my generation that was American educated, university,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
That grew up here, right? I'm very, very blessed. And everything, the story of my life has been by the grace of God and the kindness of strangers. I did not study finance. You know, you spoke earlier about how, you know, you came to be in Baton Rouge, you had this plan or whatever, but in hindsight, you know, life, we go through it 120 miles per hour, but we learn in hindsight.
Yeah, that's
And it's
true.
always God carrying us.
Yeah.
And just like the Vietnam War, like everything, it's, you trust in God and He will turn everything around for good. And that goes to my favorite, one of my favorite passages, obviously Romans 8:2-8, is because He doesn't turn things around for good for everyone. Like not everything turns to good or for good, but for those who love Him
Yes.
and are called according to His purpose.
That's right.
And so I strongly believe that we all have a purpose, right?
Absolutely.
We all have a God-ordained purpose. And so there shouldn't be any fear, and there shouldn't be any, that you should be so blessed and grateful to live in the greatest nation created under God. And when you take God out of this nation, then you can go ahead and take your identity too.
Wow.
Right?
That's a phenomenal statement, and that actually exactly answers my question from earlier, because there are some people that have tried to do that, remove God from the nation, from our nation, and in so doing, we have lost our identity. I've said it this way before: if you try to tell the story of America without God, then you're telling the story of some other country.
Yeah.
But this nation, and what's so beautiful about it is, our forefathers, they were not perfect. Our founding
No.
fathers, I should say, were not perfect. But they did consult the scriptures for wisdom. And they recognize, and it's borne out in our documents, that that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. They recognize that government does not give you your life and your rights. They're given by God. You as a person, He gives you your identity. You're valuable to Him.
Right.
You are worth it for Him.
Yeah.
And He has given us these rights. The government is to work to protect those rights, that no one would come in and steal them.
Right.
The communism would not come and take them away.
Correct.
Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, these are just the fundamentals.
Right.
That is what has made the United States so unique, I think, relative to any other, quote, experiment in human history.
Yeah.
When you look at this government where we the people, are the kings in this country. We're the ones that we elect our representation in government, not government telling us what to do.
Correct.
I'm not anti-government in slight. I think that we need good government for the reasons I've just stated.
Yeah.
But there are many, sadly, that, and I am talking now about some of the younger people that have, it's funny because what you said, I think we need to bring these two things together. You talk about a lack of identity. They've embraced ideology and sentiment that is not truly what we would call American, at least that'll keep us in the direction that we've been. But at the same time, you've got a lot of people that are riddled with fear, anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
These things are not isolated cases, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you just read the news, you know it.
Right.
It's an epidemic. It's a pandemic. We've got kids that are in middle school. The age that you were.
Yeah.
I mean, 7, 8, 9 years old. You're coming elementary school, going into middle school. But you've got kids that are just that children. And, you know, while you were in a refugee camp, they're not. But yet they're talking as though their lives have no meaning.
Yeah.
To the point, can we say this? They're even moving to thoughts and actions of even suicide.
It's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic. And it breaks my heart because they have every bit of opportunity and freedom.
That's right.
But you said it, as a child, you're looking for that identity, that safe harbor.
Yeah.
And they're without that.
Yeah.
It's so sad. And your story has given you just an amazing story to tell, but it's the character that you have, but it's all based in your faith is what I keep hearing from you. And that I just want to keep drilling that because that will bring hope to anybody that hears this or just anybody that you talk to. So keep preaching that message, please. Don't stop. We need more of that. You mentioned your children, though, and this is a great place to bring it to because this is the culmination of your story.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your kids.
Oh, thank you for asking. I have 3 beautiful, thriving children. Chloe is 24, and she graduated from LSU. Couldn't be more proud.
Oh, that's awesome.
And her desire of her heart is to go in the medical field. So she's applying for nursing school and hopefully anesthesiology or nurse anesthesiology after that.
All right.
So she has that passion for, to care for people. Justin, my middle child, is most like me. His nickname is Old Man Jenkins. He has an old soul. He loves life, life of the party. He likes to connect people. He never meets a stranger. Okay. And he's just so, he's a beautiful boy. Awesome. Loves God. Has a foul mouth, though, and I think that probably inherit that from me sometimes. So,
well, as long as he keeps his yard manicured, it helps with that. We can forgive him a little bit.
But I'm being real, right? So,
right, yeah.
And then Nicholas is my little engineer. He's 15 years old, and his teachers say if he's not going to grow up to be an engineer, then she will change her name. So
okay,
yeah,
all right. So he's going to be an engineer in that case. Okay. Hopefully we'll be walking in one of his buildings or something. I don't know what kind of an engineer, but so you say he's 15?
He's 15.
So he's in high school now.
He's in high school. He
okay.
just, they went back to school yesterday and he's in 10th grade.
In 10th grade, okay, all right.
Yes.
So you've got, I guess, a graduation will be on the horizon.
Yes.
And then off to college and all that fun stuff. So that's great. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised to hear that you have 3 wonderful children. They have a wonderful mother.
Oh, thank
So
you so
I'm not
much.
surprised to hear that.
Thank you.
But we thank the Lord
Yes,
more than anything
absolutely.
for the story, the fact that you're here and your family,
Yeah.
that everyone came over. And this is an example where you have people that come into this nation
Yeah.
that are a benefit, that are a contribution.
Yeah.
And your family is just that. And now you've got children
Yes.
that, well, you've just described them. They sound amazing. And congratulations to you on
Thank
that
you.
for sure.
That's success right there. That's, if you ask me what it is, that's my
it.
children.
That's it. Well,
Yeah.
I hope to get a chance to
Yeah.
meet at least one of them, you know.
Yeah, you
All
will.
of them. Absolutely. No, it sounds like you got an amazing family. Really, that's the case.
Thank you.
I candidly could keep talking with you about all kind of stuff, but in the interest of time, we'll probably have to cut it short.
Okay.
But no, seriously, you are going to be writing a book about all of this, you said, right? You're working on it.
I am. I'm writing from a perspective of my 7-year-old self as
love
a Americanized middle-aged woman. So imagine how difficult that is. I started out with really just making bullet points and timelines for my kids. But you know, I'm kind of overambitious, and so I write in, like I say, from a point of view of a child. And I want to make it as authentic as possible. And thank the Lord, I remember everything in detail, like the back of my hand. I don't my short-term memory, though, is horrible. So don't ask me what I did yesterday and what I had
You
for
cut
dinner.
your grass, remember?
But yeah, so I'm writing all that down, and yeah.
Well, I believe the Lord has allowed you to keep those memories because they need to be more than just memories for you to hoard and to keep. They need to be
Yes, you're
shared
right.
because there's lessons, valuable lessons, not to mention it's just fascinating. So I want to say thank you for opening up. It's not easy to open up. And to be kind of put in the hot seat, and you have something to say. Like I said, I go through my whole family history. For me, and my story in 10 minutes will be done, and ready to go eat. But you've got an amazing story, and I want you to do us a favor. Tell your mom, your dad, your family hello for us, even though they don't know who we are. But tell them hello and just thank them for being so faithful.
Thank you.
We thank the Lord above all. But really, thank you for opening up, and we're going to have to hear more from you, though, in the future for sure. And
I'd
look,
love to.
we might get a group in here the next time.
Yeah,
and
let's do it.
Who knows where it'll go after that.
Oh, I love it.
But there's all kind of things. But when you have that book done, I'm going to really... Okay, to close this out, I want you to say goodbye to everybody, but I want you to say it, not in English, but in your original tongue, so to speak. I want you to speak a little bit of Vietnamese for us.
Oh, yeah?
Just kind of say goodbye. Don't say anything bad about me because I'm going to get it translated in Google. Thank you so much for being here. But close us out, take us out with just saying some Vietnamese, just goodbye to everybody, and well, you know what to say. So take it away.
Okay, you got it. Okay.
right.
Well, trước nhất, Kim Uyên xin cảm ơn Josh đã mời Kim Uyên tới để chia sẻ cái journey của mình. Cái journey của mình thì không có gì đặc biệt compare với lại những người refugee khác. And kính chào các quý vị.